Hi, this is Roisin from Sweet Eve Signs. Today I'm going to show you how to assemble this Dino number shaker cake topper. Be sure to watch the design tutorial first. The materials you'll need for this project are cardstock, acetate, foam tape, foam stickers in different sizes, shaker mix, glues including hot glue, an acrylic stick, and non-stick scissors. There's also an optional step where you can use an eyeshadow palette. I will add a link to all of these materials in the description box. So first, let's get started with the text. First, start out by lining out the text layers so you can make sure that they're in the right place before you stick. Now I'm going to use Barely Arts glue to apply the first layer to the second layer. I like to use small dots because this means that you apply just the right amount of adhesive. Now I'm going to apply the second layer to the third layer using foam stickers. I personally always like to reinforce my foam stickers using glue or hot glue. However, this is an optional step and you'll see me doing this throughout my tutorial. Just continue the process until you've finished all of the layers. I just made a slight mistake here, so I just rectified it. You know, I always like to leave my bloopers in. Now I'm just going to apply the backing. This will give us just a bit more dimension when we put the topper together. I do this using foam stickers. And that's our text done. Now let's move on to the leaves. So you just want to start out by matching all of your leaves. So you will have a top layer and a bottom layer. So just put them into pairs in the right sizes. So this is where I'm going to show you an optional step, but it's a really cool trick to give your paper leaves or your paper flowers a bit more dimension. I like to use a simple eyeshadow palette. I'll put the link in the description for this one that I got from Amazon. And you're going to use a Q-tip and make sure that you clean out any holes first before you start this process. Now grab your Q-tip and just apply a darker shade of green to the outside of your leaves. You then want to go ahead and glue the top leaf to the bottom leaf. Make sure that they match. And then find the outer leaf, the backing. You may want to match these before, but I just did it as I went along. Apply them with glue. Repeat the process for all of your leaves. You might want to mix up some of your greens and use slightly different shades or mix them together. The more different shades that you use, the more dimension and textures you will have on your final cake topper. This is a bit of a slow process, but I will promise you it's really worth it, and it makes your cake topper just look a little bit more special. And to be honest, I find it really therapeutic. As mentioned in my design tutorial, I ended up adding a few more leaves. You can do this after you build your topper. You might want to put some more in, and that's absolutely fine as we don't have an offset for these leaves. I'll show you this a bit at the end. And that's our leaves done. Let me just show you one close up so you can see how it adds texture and dimension to your leaf and a two-tone effect. Now let's move on to the backing of the leaves. Start by matching your leaves to the backing. Line them up first and make sure that they're all the right size before you stick them down. I'm going to use foam stickers to stick mine down, and I'm going to vary the height, with some having 2 foam stickers high, some having 1. I originally used some white glue to help stick this down, but for some reason I find it wasn't really sticking very well and they were moving around. I was being quite impatient, so in the end I decided to use some hot glue. But as I said, it's always optional to add glue to your foam stickers. Now let's add the final text backing. So we're going to put our name on top of these leaves. We're going to use some foam stickers on the leaf part just to give us a bit more dimension. Now just apply glue to the base of the name and add on. And that's our text and leaves done. Next, let's move on to the shaker frame. Mine just happened to be in the right order, but make sure that you line them up first. And I'm going to apply the first layer to the second layer using glue. As this is very thin, just use small dots. Now we're going to apply the second layer to the third layer using foam stickers. You will probably need to trim these to size as this part of the shaker frame is still quite thin. Now repeat the process for the other layers. As you get to the backing, you'll find that the layers get thicker and you can use thicker foam stickers, but you probably will still need to trim them all down to size. On this layer, I'm using hot glue, as with glitter cardstock, it's always preferable to use hot glue because it's very hard to stick any other adhesive down. Repeat until finished. And that's your shaker frame done. Now let's move on to the main shaker. So grab your acetate. You're going to need to clean your acetate using window cleaner or Windex wipes. The reason that I do this is because it stops the shaker mix from sticking to the acetate. Use kitchen towel to dry. Grab the base of your shaker and some foam tape. And then you're just going to roughly guess how much you need. Cutting too much is always better than too little. Trim down. Now you're going to apply the foam tape to the edge of the base of the shaker. Take your time with this, making sure that it's flat all the way around. When you get to the point where the two ends meet, trim, but just be sure that you don't leave any gaps. Now I'm just grabbing my shaker mix. My 11-year-old actually made this up for me, and I don't think that there's quite enough, so I'm just going to add some more in. But you can pre-mix or you can mix as you go along, it's completely up to you. Now tip it in. I'm a little bit messy here, but you know, you get the point. You can clean it up afterwards and add the bits in that fall out. Now this is really important, make sure that you remove the cover very slowly. If you move it too fast, everything will just fly out. And just leave a small section of the cover still attached. I will show you why in a little bit. Now it's time to apply our acetate. Just try and line it up as best you can. If you leave gaps, you will find that your shaker mix falls out, so just take your time doing this and seal with your fingers. Now you can see I have this little pocket here, and the reason why I leave this is because sometimes when you make a shaker, you can't see if you have enough or too little, and this just allows you to add and remove. Now remove the final part of the covering that you left behind. Check for any leakage to make sure that nothing escapes. And then seal. You can use your fingers, but I also like to use my brayer. This is an optional step. And then again, check for any leakage. Now we're going to line up our shaker frame with our main shaker. We want to be able to see that there are absolutely no parts of the foam sticking out. So very carefully trim this down. This foam tape is actually quite thick and very forgiving. I think in the US you can get smaller sizes, but over here in the UK, this is the thinnest that I can get. So just keep doing this and checking and matching to make sure that you can't see anything sticking out. Now I'm going to add my shaker frame to my shaker. I like to use Beacon's 3-in-1 glue for this. The reason being is that this is a silicone based glue and it allows me the flexibility to slide the shaker into place. If you use hot glue, it will just dry so quickly and you won't be able to adjust to make sure that you can't see any of the foam tape sticking out. And that's our shaker done. Now let's move on to our lovely dinosaur. First of all, line up to make sure you've got all the pieces in the right place before you begin to stick. This is the second time I've made this shaker, and the first time for some reason I didn't have the teeth. One of my teeth ripped, so I'm just cutting the other one so it's symmetrical. So we're going to apply the first layer to the second layer using glue. Now let's apply the second layer to the third layer, but this time we're going to use some foam stickers. Now just repeat the process with all of the other layers, including the backings. Now let's glue our horns. It took me a while to figure out actually how to position these. I had to go back and look at the original design. But once you've worked that out, you're going to use foam stickers and apply them to each of the horns just to give a little bit of dimension. Now this is optional, but if you still have your eyeshadow palette, grab it and apply a bronze tone all over the edges and the T-zone of this lovely dinosaur. You can see it gives us such lovely dimension, and that's our dinosaur done. Now let's move on to the spikes. So grab your 3 spike layers and we're going to build them up. Starting with the first layer, we're going to use foam stickers and apply it to the second layer. I would suggest using hot glue for this, as this is going to be the main backing and you want to make sure it's secure. Repeat the process with the second and third layer. Now let's do the main backing. So make sure you line it up first, and then we're going to use foam stickers and apply the main shaker to the main backing, again using hot glue. Now we're going to grab our leaves and line them up with the backing. As I added additional leaves on after I'd already made a design, they don't all have the backing layer, but that doesn't matter as it's not an offset, it won't be visible. So use foam stickers to give some height to your leaves and apply. I would suggest using hot glue just because you're going to stick the shaker on top of this. For this leaf at the side, you might just need to use 2 foam stickers layered on top of each other just to make sure it's at the same height as the other leaves. And then if you don't have a backing and you've added leaves on, just kind of position them where you think that they look nice and just continue until you've used all of your leaves. Now let's add our shaker on top. After I looked at my shaker, I could see that there was still some foam sticking out. And now that it's completely dry, I'm just going to go in and trim that. Now use foam stickers to apply your shaker to the base. Again, I would suggest using hot glue for this. Now we're going to add our dinosaur. I'm just going to line him up with the backing. Then I'm going to use hot glue to apply him to my shaker. You could use another glue like a silicone based glue if you want to be able to move it around, but you would just need to hold it in place. After I looked at it, I adjusted it slightly with a foam sticker to make sure that it's all lined up. Now we're going to add our name and our leaves on. Now, just a little bit of a caveat here, guys. I've actually had to make this shaker twice because I lost my first tutorial. So I plan to sell this, but I will need to change the name. So I would normally use probably some foam stickers at the bottom and hot glue. But because I'm going to remove this afterwards and I don't want to cause too much damage, I'm just using the white glue. But I am just adding a few foam stickers here to make sure that it all sits flat. Now let's apply our acetate. So just make sure that if there's any holes, you poke them out. And as we did before, just clean our acetate. We're not going to be using this for a shaker, but it just makes sure that it looks nice and clean. Now we're going to use our Beacons 3-in-1 glue to attach the main shaker to the acetate. The reason that I do this is again because it allows me that flexibility to slide it into place. It's very rare that you will get this in the right position straight off. You could use hot glues, but once it's down, it's down. Now let's grab our stick. And we're just going to line it up and work out where we want it to be first and how much hot glue we need to apply. Add hot glue to the area that you need to stick down. You can use silicone glue, but you will need to hold it for a very long time. Now we're going to use the Beacons 3-in-1 glue to attach the backing. This has 2 purposes. It's going to help us to cover the stick, but also give the shaker some more stability. And there you have it, that's our Dino number shaker topper done. If you found this tutorial helpful, please make sure to like, comment and subscribe. Check out my other tutorials. I have one added to my YouTube channel per week. And follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Thank you and bye.